But here we are now in 2017 America, and you mentioned sacrifice, and I have to mention this because it's in the news. Donald Trump told Maisha Johnson about her husband who was slain in Niger, U.S. Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, only 25 years old, that, quote, he knew what he signed up for, which made her cry, and that record was backed up by Congresswoman Wilson from Florida. Later, four-star General John Kelly defended the president's remarks, who has since refused to apologize and said that he never said that, even though John Kelly said that he said that, but I digress. And then President Trump also said he has, quote, one of the great memories of all time. Not making that up. When you hear that as a Gold Star parent, President Trump's response not only to Humayun's sacrifice, what he said about your wife Ghazala after the DNC convention, but also what he said specifically in response to Maisha Johnson and the sacrifice of her husband, U.S. Sergeant LaDavid Johnson. A, how does that make you feel? And the second question I want to ask is, do you think race matters in the sense that if it was a white soldier, if Ghazala Khan was Gabi Khan, not Muslim, not Pakistani, do you think he would have reacted the same way?
Well, Ghazala responded to Donald Trump and his ignorant statement herself, writing an op-ed in Washington Post
right.
that he doesn't know me, he doesn't have a sense of empathy, and that under those circumstances, when my son's picture is on the screen, I'm unable to speak, but a person with no empathy, no understanding of these matters would utter the kind of words that he uttered. But coming back to Sergeant LaDavid Johnson and other three, my sons, all four of them sacrificed their life under very difficult circumstances, fighting the menace of terrorism to protect us under very difficult circumstances in Africa. We were accorded all the dignity and the privacy that such moments of grief in any family's life require. We were granted total privacy. We were extended all courtesies that a grieving family would need to begin to gather themselves. First few days, few weeks are very difficult in family's life, especially losing a member of the family under the circumstances that our heroes' sons and daughters stand for our sake, for our national security's sake. I was taken to the funeral home when the body of Captain Humayun Khan arrived, and the casualty officer stood to my right in full salute, and the second officer opened the coffin for me to recognize Captain Humayun Khan. And I did. Beautiful face, amazing, as if he would smile and would say, oh, anyway. So we were given that courtesy. But in case of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson and his family, that courtesy was not extended. I fully understand, because I have participated in the funerals of those that have died under the circumstances where body is not recognizable. If you go to Arlington Cemetery, go to section 60, and you will see multiple tombstones with 6 names on it. One grave, 5 names, 4 names, somewhere it is more than 8 names. The accident in which these brave heroes died was such that the bodies could not be segregated, could not be separated. They had to be buried together and all that. So those are all understandable circumstances. But what broke my heart again and again when this saga continued for several days was that no one was refraining, no one was restrained. Everyone was using this moment of their grief for political expediency, including the president, including his incompetent advisors. Nobody was telling them that this is the moment when the nation should restrain, should extend utmost courtesy and dignity and respect, because that is our character. That is how we honor our heroes. That is how we honor these brave men and women that sacrifice themselves. We don't make their death as a matter of political expediency. That is where the sadness about the behavior of the president's closest advisor comes into play. He gets up and he makes political statements and all. We honor John Kelly's service to this nation. We honor his family's sacrifice to this nation. We fully understand, but now he is on public's payroll in the White House. That is people's White House, this nation's White House. The dignity of this nation that it accords, that it extends to its sons and daughters that sacrifice their life must be adhered to. His advice to this president should have been, because he knows that this person is not articulate in uttering proper words, in explaining and expressing with proper sentiments. Therefore, he should have been advised, do not get involved. They encouraged him to get involved because it was politically expedient for him. So he can begin to brag, I made the phone call, I spoke to the family, I did this and I did that. That all could have been avoided simply saying, do not call. Or if he had to call, write this script. Then worst, and that is, I blame on his advisors, especially John Kelly, and this is my gripe to him, about him. He knows the protocol, how the call is made. Call is not made that the president picks up the phone and dials the number and speaks to the family. It doesn't happen that way. The White House calls, asks the person, we want to speak to such and such person. Are you such and such person? Do you have privacy? Can you take this telephone call? President wishes to speak with you. Would you rather speak some other time if you do not have privacy? Nothing of that sort was done. The family is traveling towards the funeral home in the car.
Speakerphone.
And the call is made. People were not, that is where the height of the incompetence, and that is where my heart broke, that my wonderful, wonderful daughter, that she is pregnant. She should have not been put under those stress. Then White House and the rest of these leaders that use that moment for political expediency must have known the condition of the body of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson. No courtesy was extended to inform the parents or next to kin that it is this reason that we do not wish to extend the disrespect towards the body of the sergeant.
Do you think it would have been extended if he were white and his wife were white?
I wish that they all would treat these matters equally. When we go to serve our nation, when our young men and women go to serve our nation, they are not serving white America or black America or such an America. They go to serve a nation with wholeheartedly. I wish to pay tribute to our armed services, our armed forces. The most competent armed forces in the entire world are American armed forces, and there's a reason for that. Those armed forces are fully integrated, meaning all races, all faiths, all religions, all ethnicities are included, not only in the lowest level, but at the highest level. And I have met most of them. I am amazed at why that is not reflected among our nation in its values, in its other ventures. Most integrated are our armed forces. That is why they are considered, and they are truly so, the best of America.